This is FluentCast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to FluentCast. I'm Diego, and a quick thing before we start today. If you are new here, just hit subscribe wherever you are listening. New episodes every Monday, always real English and real idea. Okay, so this is Monday, April 6th, the day after Easter, and I'm sitting here just thinking. I was talking to a few students last week, one in Brazil, one in Colombia, and all of them had the same long weekend. All of them took Friday off, Good Friday. And then I thought, what about my friends in Germany, in the UK, in South Africa? Same thing. And I started wondering why? Why does so much of the world take a break at the same time? And then I went down this rabbit hole. There are a number of holidays, like 5 or 6, that appear on the official calendar of almost every country on earth. Not almost the same holiday, the exact same name, sometimes the exact same day. And today I want to go through those holidays one by one, look at how many countries actually celebrate each one, figure out why this spreads so far across the world, and because this is FluentCast, really dig into the English vocabulary that lives inside each one. Because every one of these holidays is full of words that native speakers use all the time, not just on that specific day, every day. Alright, so let's get into it. Let me just hit you with a number right away. 169 countries officially recognize January 1st as a public holiday. 169 out of roughly 195 countries in the world. I had to check that twice because that is a lot. That means if you are listening in Brazil, in Germany, in Japan, in Nigeria, wherever you are, there is almost a certainty that January 1st is a day off where you live. Now, think about how hard it is for any single idea to spread to 169 countries. For example, a scientific discovery takes decades to reach everywhere. A piece of technology takes years, but this date, January 1st, the first day of what we call the Gregorian calendar, is now recognized by almost the entire planet. And here is what is interesting. This wasn't always the case. For most of human history, January 1st meant nothing. Different cultures had their own New Years, some in the spring, some in autumn, some based on the moon, but none of them agreed. What changed was trade. As countries started doing business with each other, they needed a shared system, a common calendar. And the Gregorian calendar, which was developed in Europe in the 16th century, slowly became the international standard. Not because it is the most accurate calendar, not because it's the oldest, but because enough powerful trading nations used it, so everyone had to use it too, just to communicate. Historians call this process standardization, which is just a fancy word for everyone agreed to use the same thing. Like how airports around the world use English for air traffic control. Not because English is better, because you need one shared language when planes are landing. So January 1st became global, not through, let's say, love, but through practicality. Alright, so now let's actually go through big holidays around the world. Let's talk about Christmas. Probably you are thinking about this holiday. And 154 countries recognize Christmas as an official public holiday. And this one is genuinely fascinating because Christmas is a public holiday in countries where Christianity is a tiny minority. For example, Japan, which officially recognizes the date even though Christians make up less than 2% of their population. So, how does that happen? The answer is a process that sociologists, people who study how society works, call secularization, which sounds complicated, but it just means something that started as religious slowly became cultural. Think about what Christmas actually looks like in most places today. A tree with lights, gifts, a big family meal, winter colors, red and green, a man in a red suit. None of that is specifically religious. All of it is just culture, just December. And when enough non-Christian countries started participating in that cultural moment, Christmas stopped being a specifically Christian event for many people and became simply a shared global celebration. And this is where the English gets interesting. The word secular, you will hear this a lot, means not religious. Not against religion, just independent of it. A secular school, a secular government, a secular holiday, it simply means that this doesn't require belief to participate. Alright, let's move on to another holiday here. This one is very interesting. May 1st, known as May Day in much of Europe, Labor Day in the UK, Australia, and other countries, and International Workers' Day in most of the rest of the world. 144 countries, third here on the list. Now, quick side note that I think it's really interesting. The United States also has a Labor Day, but it's in September, not May. Why? Well, the short version is this. In 1886, there was a major labor protest in Chicago, a gathering of workers demanding better conditions, and it ended in violence. That date, May 1st, became the International Day to commemorate the labor movement, but the US, the government, at the time was worried about what they saw as they called radical politics. Radical politics is demanding better working conditions. So they moved their version of the holiday to the first Monday of September, far away from May 1st associations. Same holiday, different date, different politics baked into the calendar. So the vocabulary around this holiday is powerful and widely used. The word labor just means work, especially physical or industrial work, but it also refers to the workforce as a whole. The labor movement is the organized effort by workers over history to improve wages, hours, and working conditions. If you read any news about economics or politics, you will see this word constantly. If you read any news about economics or politics, you will see these words constantly. And then there is the word strike. When workers go on strike, they collectively stop working as a form of protest, usually to demand better pay or better conditions. For example, you might hear the nurses went on strike, the pilots threatened to strike. It's a very specific and very important word, and yes, strike has other meanings, but talking specifically about work, labor, this is very important meaning to understand. And here we are, the holiday that actually started this whole episode. As I said, today, Monday, April 6th. Yesterday was Easter, and if you remember, Friday was also a holiday, Good Friday. About 98 countries recognize Good Friday and Easter, or both, as an official public holiday. That is the long weekend that just happened, and it makes Easter one of the most globally recognized holidays that many people don't even think as global. But let me ask you something that actually confuses a lot of native English speakers too. Why is it called Good Friday? Because on the surface, that name makes no sense, right? It doesn't sound like it should be called good. The answer is linguistics. It comes from the history of the English language itself. The word good in Old English, which is a version of English spoken in England over 1,000 years ago, had a broader meaning than it does today. It could simply mean holy. That same old meaning actually survives in another word you use every day: goodbye. Goodbye comes from the phrase God be with you, which was contracted and changed over centuries until it became the word we have now. So Good Friday doesn't mean a pleasant Friday, it means something closer to a sacred day. This is what linguists call etymology, the study of where words come from, and I think it's one of the most useful tools for learning English, because once you understand where a word came from, the meaning sticks. You don't forget it, it has a story. Now, I want to talk about one almost universal day for almost every country on Earth. 187 or more has a national day, a day that marks the founding of the nation, its independence, its unification, or some defining historical moment. Brazil has September 7th, France has July 14th, the US has July 4th, and so on. Each country remembers in a different day. Every one of them is different, but they all exist for the same reason. The key word here is sovereignty. Sovereignty means the full right and power of a country to govern itself. When a country declares independence, it is claiming sovereignty. Before I close, let me mention two more that didn't make the top list, but whose global presence is impossible to ignore. International Women's Day on March 8th, officially a public holiday in about only 25 countries, but culturally recognized in many more countries on Earth. In Brazil, in Germany, in the US, in the UK, March 8th shows up. It's on the news, it's on social media, companies acknowledge it, schools acknowledge it. Even though many countries don't stop that day to commemorate it, it is remembered and acknowledged in many countries. So I could say its cultural footprint is enormous compared to its official status. Another interesting holiday here is Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. I'm sorry, my pronunciation might not be 100% spot on this one. These two major celebrations in Islam, recognized as a public holiday in roughly 50 countries across Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia. For about 1.8 billion people on Earth, these are among the most important days of the year. So even though the number is smaller, the weight of those days is anything but small. And what connects all of these, all the holidays we've talked about today, is the idea of recognition, which is actually a really useful English word. Recognition just means acknowledging that something exists and matters. When a government officially makes a day a public holiday, that is a formal recognition. But when a day shows up in the news, in conversations, in schools, even without the day off, that's cultural recognition. And sometimes cultural recognition is more powerful than the official kind. Okay, if you look at the list, New Year's at 169 countries, Christmas at 154 countries, Labor Day or Workers' Day at 144 countries. I think that is the real story today. Not the numbers, as interesting as they are, but the fact that as humans we have a fundamental need to remember a day, the need to celebrate, the need to say we are a people and this day belongs to us. If this episode was useful, share it. Just one person, someone who is also learning English. It really makes a difference for us at Fluent English Academy. And if you want to improve your English and learn more, learn to speak and talk about holidays like we were talking here in this episode, check out Fluent English Academy. 101 lessons online everywhere in the world. Link is in the description. I'm Diego, thanks for being here, and I'll see you next Monday. Take care everyone, bye bye.